Hey, it's Matt Sager. Happy almost Independence Day as this country celebrates its independence from Britain and Europe and the world. An independence which is not really going to be optional for much longer, as first the EU and probably soon after, the UK and the rest of the world isolates us because our coronavirus pandemic here is spiraling out of control, getting worse by the day. 14 states are getting moderately better. Everywhere else is getting worse. I do love this country, but fireworks are not my biggest fear this 4th of July. On the subject of the pandemic, not sure if irony is dead or simply on life support, but I got an email from my union, SAG-AFTRA. I periodically get messages from them, and it's ironic because, the whole thing about them is if you're a performer, an actor, a voice actor, they are there to help you get work, but they're also there, importantly, to make sure you're working under safe conditions. And safe conditions are very hard to come by right now. So I'm getting a lot of do not work notice emails. Got one today saying, do not work Songbird, which I hadn't heard of. The email reads, do not work notice Songbird. Please be advised that Onalark Productions, LLC, the producer of the picture entitled Songbird, has failed to complete the signatory process and is therefore not signed to any applicable SAG-AFTRA agreement. So that Onalark Productions sounded familiar, so I Googled this. And not that there was any danger of me being involved in this movie, but it's a Michael Bay pick. Michael Bay has not completed the signatory process with SAG-AFTRA, the union you must work with if you're going to employ performers. And the reason apparently is safety issues. And why does this mean irony is dead? Songbird is about love in the time of a pandemic. The kind of story that needs to be told by a multi-layered craftsman, an emotional storyteller, someone who is all about substance over style. So, of course, it's a Michael Bay movie, and of course, he's not following basic safety procedures. Happy 4th of July, once again. Michael frickin' Bay. He is just the gift that keeps on giving. The email further reads, please note, accepting employment or rendering services on Songbird may be considered a violation of Global Rule 1. Violating this order may result in disciplinary action in accordance with the SAG-AFTRA Constitution. Global Rule 1, of course, is the rule that actors may visit alien civilizations and foreign worlds, but must never interfere. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the Prime Directive. Global Rule 1 is still pretty big. Michael Bay is under quarantine because he's running an irresponsible movie about love in the time of pandemic. So I give up. If this movie is ever made, if it's ever cleared for production, and a release date is ever set, Songbird is apparently being produced by Adam Goodman and Andrew Sugarman of the production team Invisible Narratives. Also producing are Catchlight Films' Jessica Hall Malanafi, Jeanette Volturno, Marcy A. Brown, and Rick A. Osako. The movie is directed and co-written by Adam Mason and stars Demi Moore, Craig Robinson, and Paul Walter Hauser. And they're all forbidden to work on the movie, so we'll see how this pans out. Pun not intended. Much cooler news, still very strange, but fantastic news. Beavis and Butthead is coming back. Or Beavis and Butthead are coming back. 2 new seasons have been announced, in addition to spin-offs coming to Comedy Central. It's going to be overseen by Mike Judge. This according to Hollywood Reporter, which says the updated series already has a plan in place for spin-offs and specials. Comedy Central, of course, owned by Viacom CBS, same people who own MTV. People for whom I voiced George W. Bush on Celebrity Deathmatch, just saying. But I digress. Comedy Central is reviving Beavis and Butthead, with series creator Mike Judge returning to relaunch and reimagine the franchise as part of a sizable deal that includes a 2-season order and plans for additional spin-offs and specials. In the new incarnation, Beavis and Butthead will enter a, quote, whole new Gen Z world with meta themes that are said to be relatable to both new fans who may be unfamiliar with the original series and old. Oh, that's weird. That makes me feel old. I do feel like young people today, oh God, young people today, I'm old. I do feel like today's kids have the same basic set of issues that my generation did. Certain things are universal. Then again, a lot has changed. Stop rubbing your touchscreen, Beavis. Yeah, your dad came out as trans. Yeah, and that's okay. Don't be weird about it. It's weird. It's fantastic. I can't wait. It does feel like a wow, hell froze over kind of moment, just because I did not think this was ever going to happen, and it has been at least one generation since Beavis and Butthead were last on TV. That's a big deal. That's really, really cool and exciting. Now, here's something I didn't know, also from this Hollywood Reporter article, to which I'll link in the episode description. The new take on the teenage couch potato comes less than 10 days after Comedy Central became the home of Jody, the adult animated series, which is a spinoff of Daria, which, of course, itself was an offshoot of Judge's Beavis and Butthead. I was not aware of this Jody show. The article says Beavis and Butthead, like the Tracy Ellis Ross-led Jody, hails from MTV Studios. The in-house division launched 2 years ago by McCarthy with a goal to monetize the company's vast library and sell to third-party buyers. Well, everything Mike Judge touches is pretty amazing. Silicon Valley's amazing. Office Space will forever be one of the best movies of all time. Beavis and Butthead is kind of his defining stamp on the world, and it's amazing that they're coming back, and it's heartening. There's not a lot of good news right now, not even in the world of entertainment. And so this is deeply heartwarming. And let us Gen Xers strive to not be weird and freaky and uptight and silly and stupid about it the way boomers were, thinking that Beavis saying fire, fire was going to make kids light themselves on fire, idiotic stuff like that. This is a chance for Gen Xers to prove that even though while we worked 14 jobs, we were called slackers, and we kind of got the real shit end of the stick generation-wise, that we're smarter than the generation that preceded us, and that we understand comedy is comedy, animation is for fun, video games don't cause violence, and cartoons don't cause people to harm themselves or others. And hey, this is something we can watch with our kids. I don't have kids, but you can. I'm going to watch it with my girlfriend and my cat. One last piece of cool entertainment-related news for fans of Amazon Prime's adaptation of The Boys. The Boys, of course, being an ultra-violent, deconstructionist, anti-superhero comic, which is actually currently back on stands with a miniseries, The Boys, Dear Becky. Season 2 of the Amazon Prime show has a release date. It's going to premiere September 4th, 2020. That said, things are going to be a little bit different this time around. The Boys Season 1 premiered, as shows tended to at that time, in a great, big, beautiful, all-at-once dump so you could just binge right away, and I did. That was sort of the standard streaming model for new original content at that time. That's changed. Part of the new landscape of so many movies being released to video on demand, so many new streaming services and new forms of content, and repurposed old content, it's caused streaming services to change their ways of thinking of stuff and their models of distribution. It should no longer be assumed that a new series or even a returning series is going to be dumped all at once for you to binge, even though you may really want to. I certainly do. The Boys is going to premiere similarly to the way Doom Patrol did on DC Universe and HBO Max, which is to say on September 4th, they will release their first 3 episodes, and then they'll release 1 new episode for each of the following 5 weeks. So that means the finale will air on October 9th. It looks fantastic. Of course, if you watch season 1, you know it's a great show. I'll attach a link to a preview of The Boys season 2 to this episode's description. Check that out, and please feel free to leave me comments. Follow me on social media. There are links in this episode's description as to how you can do that. Also, if you want to support this podcast, there are links in the episode description, which will show you how to do that. If you're checking this out on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share with whoever you'd like, anywhere you like. If you're listening on a podcast app, I'm on most of them, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. You can subscribe via any of those apps and services as well. I'd also love it if you left me a review. Thanks a lot. Have a great July 4th weekend. I will talk with you soon.